You never wrote a budget. One number, once a month. That is the entire system. Your net worth went from negative $8,000 to $940,000. In 11 years. Doing nothing else. Still, the same behavior. Before this shift, life looked like a series of comparisons. Every month, you'd browse the latest car models online, wondering when you could upgrade from your reliable but aging sedan. Your friends were all buying new cars, and you felt like you were falling behind. You'd attend dinner parties where everyone discussed their latest purchases, and you'd join in, sharing your own desires for a bigger TV or a fancier watch. The conversations were always about what you didn't have, what you wanted next. One evening, at a friend's house, you found yourself browsing real estate listings on your phone, calculating how much you'd need to earn to afford a house like theirs. The automatic behavior was to constantly look for the next thing, the next upgrade. The shift happened on a typical Wednesday morning, at a coffee shop on your way to work. You were waiting in line, scrolling through social media, when you saw a post from a friend boasting about their new luxury watch. Something about it felt off. You realized that you'd been comparing your life to others for years, always feeling like you were one step behind. You decided, in that moment, to stop the comparisons, to stop looking for the next thing. You didn't have an epiphany or a grand revelation, you just stopped. You didn't tell anyone, didn't write it down, you just changed your behavior. Most people never make this shift because it requires a level of self-awareness that's hard to develop. It's easy to get caught up in the cycle of comparison and consumption. But you stopped. You stopped browsing car listings, stopped attending dinner parties where the conversation revolved around material possessions. You started focusing on your own life, your own goals. The psychology of not doing the default thing is complex. It requires a willingness to be different, to not follow the crowd. The ripple effects were practical and tangible. You started by opening a high-yield savings account, where you deposited $500 every month. You also opened a brokerage account, where you invested $200 every month in a low-cost index fund. The math was simple: $500 per month in savings would become $6,000 per year, and $200 per month in investments would become $2,400 per year. You allocated 60% of your investments to stocks and 40% to bonds. The interest rate on your savings account was 2.5%, and the expected annual return on your investments was 7%. You made the math tangible by creating a spreadsheet to track your progress. In the first year, the changes were small but noticeable. You had $6,000 in savings by the end of June, and $12,000 by the end of December. Your investments had grown to $2,500. You felt a sense of pride and accomplishment, but it was tempered by the knowledge that you still had a long way to go. A coworker asked you why you didn't upgrade your phone, and you simply shrugged, saying you didn't see the need. The doubt crept in when you saw others buying new cars or taking expensive vacations. You wondered if you were missing out. But you stuck to your decision, and by the end of the first year, your net worth had increased by $10,000. By year 5, the compounding had become visible, at least to you. Your savings had grown to $940,000 and your investments had grown to $15,000. You had a sense of security that you'd never felt before. One evening, at a dinner party, you found yourself sitting next to a friend who was proudly showing off his new smartwatch. You listened politely, but you didn't feel the urge to compare or compete. The contrast was striking. Everyone at the table had a new gadget, but you had $45,000 in wealth. You realized that the shift had changed your behavior in subtle but profound ways. You no longer felt the need to keep up with others, you were focused on your own goals. The number became real on a specific date, February 10th. You were sitting at your kitchen table, sipping coffee, when you decided to check your accounts. The savings account had $940,000 and the brokerage account had $940,000. Your net worth was $940,000. You felt a sense of calm, of satisfaction. Still, the same behavior, one number, once a month. Nothing had changed externally, you still drove the same car, still lived in the same apartment. But internally, everything had shifted. One person who had no idea was your neighbor, who still thought you were struggling to make ends meet. Years went by, and the number continued to grow. You stuck to your system, one number, once a month. The net worth figure that you saw on that specific date in February had grown to $940,000. You never wrote a budget, never tracked every expense. Just one number, once a month. Still, the same behavior. If this story resonated with you, subscribe. I post a new story every single day. If you want to start investing today, the Robinhood link is in the description. It comes with a free stock. And if you want the weekly letter, the Quiet Wealth letter, that link is there too. See you tomorrow. Your neighbor, still oblivious to your financial situation, would often complain about the high cost of living and how they struggled to afford even the basics. You'd listen attentively, nodding in understanding, all the while thinking about the $1.2 million now in your brokerage account. The number had grown significantly since you last checked, and your net worth now stood at $1.2 million. You found yourself attending fewer social gatherings, not because you didn't enjoy the company, but because the conversations often revolved around money and material possessions. You had no interest in discussing your finances or comparing wealth with others. Your focus remained on the monthly number, and that's what drove your behavior. One evening, while reviewing your portfolio, you noticed that the market had experienced a slight downturn. Your net worth had decreased by $50,000, now standing at $1.15 million. You didn't flinch or feel anxious, instead, you simply acknowledged the change and moved on. This reaction was a result of your disciplined approach to investing, which had become second nature. Your daily routine remained unchanged: wake up, exercise, and then devote a few hours to reading and learning. You had developed a deep interest in history, particularly the stories of individuals who had built wealth through patience and perseverance. These stories reinforced your own approach, reminding you that time and discipline were the most critical factors in achieving financial independence. As the months passed, you continued to monitor your net worth, always on the same date, once a month. The number kept growing, albeit at a slower pace. You encountered some market fluctuations, but your reaction remained consistent, calm and unemotional. Your net worth eventually reached $1.5 million, and you felt a sense of pride and accomplishment, knowing that your disciplined behavior had been the driving force behind this growth. You started receiving letters from a local charity, inviting you to donate to their cause. They had somehow discovered that you were a person of means, and they were eager to tap into your wealth. You considered their request, but ultimately decided to decline. You had no desire to draw attention to yourself or your financial situation. Your priority was to maintain your private, low-key lifestyle. The charity's letters continued to arrive, each one more persuasive than the last. You ignored them, focusing instead on your own goals and aspirations. You had always been driven by a desire for financial independence, and now that you had achieved it, you wanted to enjoy the freedom and flexibility that came with it. You decided to take a trip to Europe, visiting cities and landmarks that you had only read about. You traveled in style, but not extravagantly, preferring to blend in with the locals rather than drawing attention to yourself. Your net worth continued to grow, even as you were away, and when you returned, you found that it had reached $1.7 million. Your neighbor, still none the wiser, would often ask about your travels, and you'd share stories of your adventures, careful not to reveal too much about your financial situation. You had grown accustomed to living a private life, and you saw no reason to change that now. Your focus remained on the monthly number, and the sense of satisfaction that came with knowing you were one step closer to achieving your long-term goals. The years went by, and your net worth continued to grow. You stuck to your system, never wavering from your disciplined approach. You encountered some challenges along the way, including market downturns and economic uncertainty, but you persevered, always keeping your eyes on the prize. One day, you received a call from a financial advisor, inquiring about your interest in their services. They had somehow discovered that you were a high net worth individual, and they were eager to help you manage your wealth. You listened to their pitch, but ultimately declined their offer. You had no need for external advice or management, your system had worked perfectly well so far, and you saw no reason to change it. Your net worth eventually reached $2.5 million, and you felt a deep sense of satisfaction, knowing that your disciplined behavior had been the driving force behind this growth. You continued to live a modest lifestyle, never feeling the need to flaunt your wealth or draw attention to yourself. Your priority remained the same: to maintain your financial independence and enjoy the freedom that came with it. You found yourself with more free time, and you decided to use it to pursue your passion for history. You began writing a book about the individuals who had built wealth through patience and perseverance, and you spent hours researching and crafting your narrative. The project became an all-consuming endeavor, and you found yourself losing track of time as you delved deeper into the world of history. Your book eventually became a bestseller, and you were approached by publishers and literary agents, all eager to discuss your next project. You were surprised by the attention, but you remained humble and grounded, never forgetting the disciplined approach that had brought you to this point. Your net worth continued to grow, even as you pursued your passion for writing, and you eventually found yourself with a net worth of $3.2 million. You decided to use some of your wealth to support emerging writers, establishing a scholarship program to help them pursue their passion for storytelling. You remained anonymous, preferring to keep a low profile, but your generosity had a profound impact on the literary community. Your net worth continued to grow, and you eventually found yourself with a net worth of $4 million. You continued to write, pouring your heart and soul into your work. Your books became classics, and you were hailed as a master storyteller. But despite all the accolades, you remained humble and grounded, never forgetting the disciplined approach that had brought you to this point. Your net worth eventually reached $5 million, and you felt a deep sense of satisfaction, knowing that your life's work had been a reflection of your values and principles. You looked back on your journey, and you were struck by the power of discipline and perseverance. You had achieved financial independence, and you had done it through a combination of hard work, patience, and determination. You knew that your story was not unique, but you hoped that it might inspire others to follow in your footsteps, to adopt a disciplined approach to building wealth, and to never waver from their goals.